More TV. I'm Kara, and I'm here with
Tristan
and
Eileen Kennedy,
who is actually a pretty impressive person within the Durham film industry. I don't want to talk over your toes, but could you introduce yourself for a little bit?
Thank you. I don't know if impressive is the word, but my role is the film commissioner for the Durham Region, and it's the Durham Region, and also a board member on the Durham Region International Film Festival, and I also do creative industries, which means that I also look after the music portfolio. So happy to be here today and answer lots of good questions.
And just to get into it really quickly, can you just give us a quick rundown of what is Driff, the Durham Regional International Film Festival?
All right, sure. Driff was started back in 2015 by myself with a little bit of funding from my department. I work for the Economic Development and Tourism Division at the Region of Durham. So I had an idea, let's start a film festival. So I worked with Real World that first year and purchased programming from them, created the event around it, a 3-day event, and then the next year I actually created the Film Freeway program, not the program, sorry, the platform, so that we could actually start taking real live film submissions. So as of 2016, we were doing film submissions. As of 2017, I needed to take my subcommittee that was helping me out, and we needed to form a not-for-profit, which we did, from 3 people there. So since 2017 until now, Driff is operated by a not-for-profit entity in Ontario and run by a board of directors, which I sit on the board, and I'm also the chair of the Audience Event and Marketing Committee. So we look after not only the Fall Festival, which is 3 days, always starts the 3rd Thursday, and then the Friday and the Saturday in October. We also run some events throughout the year as well, called Driff and a Jiff, to give you a little taste of Driff, so that kind of points to the Fall Festival and encourages you to come back and come for a little bit more through our 3-day film festival.
We've never been to a film festival. Is it just a bunch of screenings? Is it awards? Is it how does it
set up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because we are a community film festival, what I mean by that is that we have a small team. We have a team of about 12 or 13 board members, but probably about 20 or 30 volunteers. But because we're not large like TIFF, not large like Cannes, for instance, we get to sort of massage our film festival event part into something a little bit more than just screening films. So for instance, we have a beautiful VIP gala reception on the Thursday night up in the Regal Room in Centennial, the Centennial building, where we can invite our sponsors, our friends, folks that may be interested in supporting Driff, and we have a lovely time with a local caterer and some wine or beer. We enjoy a time of getting together and some speeches from some of our local, like the mayor, councillor, whatever, and also we find out from the director of programming what's going to happen for the next 3 days with the actual programming, the screenings, right?
Yeah, so how did you partnership with Durham College? How did they come across?
Okay, well actually originally, I'm going back to when I first started Driff, I partnered with Durham College because at that time, Greg Murphy, who was the executive dean for the MAD program, I had told him about this really cool Wild West movie set.
Okay.
That's just about 10 minutes south of my house, and I know the owner. So we decided that on the 3rd day of Driff, which was the Saturday, we would have a make a movie in a day at the Wild West movie set. I got costuming from Whitby Courthouse Theatre. He had students write a script, and then we invited the public from 10 till 12 to actually go into 5 different places at this movie set. One was a bordello, one was a mining camp, one was a saloon, one was a jail, etc. And they wrote the script so audience could come, put on their costuming, looking very Western, and then they could speak the script. They could speak their part, whether they're the sheriff or a little girl, girl, the boy, whatever it was. And the cool thing was, in the big barn on that property, at the end of the day, we were able to see this 5-minute movie that had been pulled together, edited all afternoon by Durham College faculty and students with all the equipment. So Greg Murphy, the executive dean, like I said, he made arrangements for all that equipment to come, all the camera equipment to do all the film footage, and we had a blast. We did that for a number of years, having this make a movie in a day. So that's how Durham College got involved originally. And then Greg was always, or whoever that Durham College MAD representative is always on the board for Driff to help sponsor Driff, but also encouraging students to attend screenings and workshops and helping to give some advice to the board, right? Obviously, and the strategic planning about having to educate people as well, right? And support them. Young aspiring filmmakers. So Durham College has been pretty heavily involved with Driff right from the very beginning. Yeah.
I mean, just to backtrack to 2020 and COVID, I mean, obviously we couldn't get together back then and have all of these screenings and make a film in a day. Like, we couldn't do that back in 2020. So how did that affect Drift?
Well, it affected obviously a lot, and I don't know about you guys, but some things just don't translate well into virtual. So we did it. We put together a virtual screening program, but honestly, it's kind of like you're sitting at home, just going through a streaming, like, and just watching a movie. So you miss the whole experience. You miss coming and sitting in a theater style with other people. You miss all the event and activities around it. Of course, we couldn't make a film in the day. We couldn't do any of that stuff. So we did it just because we didn't want to not have Driff. So we pivoted just like everybody did, right? And we had this virtual screening program. But the next 2 years, 2021 and 2022, there was a lot of funding and grants money that came out from the governments to support, like, because of COVID, to support any activity. I don't know if you guys remember, but in those years, people were just dying just to go do something, anything. So we actually got this really good grant, lots of, a few $1,000s to pay for a pop-up screen and the equipment so that we could put on a drive-in at this Whitby Town Hall, because it's got a very natural slope to the grass and a parking lot. So we popped up the screen on the grass. We had people come in the parking. We parked them. We had a table set up with snacks on it. And basically for 2021 and 2022, we had 5 different drive-in screenings, like one a month, for like June, July, August, September, and then October. And then what happened was, whatever the regulations were, because in maybe June or May of that year, you couldn't get out of your car, like you couldn't mingle, but maybe by August, people were allowed to get out of their car and sit on a lawn chair, and maybe by September, you could actually get out of the car and go talk to somebody. So whatever the rules were, according to the government at the time, we were able to just kind of flow with it, right? So at least we had the drive-ins happening during that period of time, which was great. And I think I already mentioned about where it's typically held though now, it has been for about the last 4 or 5 years, is we have Driff on the first night at the Centennial Building in Whitby. Beautiful, beautiful building, and upstairs is a regal room. It's very ornamental, a lot of wood. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous asset here in Durham. So we have our gala reception up there. People dress up, it's very swanky, right? And then the next day we go to the St. Francis Center in Ajax. And the third day, on a Saturday, we are at the Biltmore Theatre in Oshawa. Did you want to talk about Driff and Driff as well right now?
Yeah. You mentioned it briefly about, like, giving people that taste, especially because you're trying to expand to the other areas within Durham. Like, how is Driff and a Jiff going to sort of help with that?
Okay, so good question. So Driff and a Jiff, if you could just imagine what it means, right? Driff and a Jiff, so you don't get the full-on 3-day experience, but what you get is one lovely evening of screening a feature film or a shorts program. And we are trying to get into different places. We have been at the RMG, that's a Robert McLaughlin Gallery in Oshawa. We actually used to do the first Friday of every month. They gave us a little spot downstairs. We set up with some black drapery and everything else, made our own little theater. So we've been at the RMG, we've been at the Whitby Library, we've been at the Robert McLaughlin, or the McLaughlin Library in Oshawa, doing Revival 69, where it was packed out. So what happens is we are looking for those spaces and places where we can basically do a pop-up, right? So we get the equipment, have the screen, sell the tickets, or actually it's free, sorry, but we do a registration through Eventbrite. So we will promote the event, and people get to come along and they get to see the screening, and then they go, hey, I really like Driff, this is really cool. We'll come along to the Fall Festival. Come in October, go on driff.ca and check it out, right? Now,
speaking of just like students in general, I know you do a lot of work with students within like the Durham Regional area, and like how does that work?
How does that work? So I've come here a few months ago. I think it was your class.
It was our class, yeah.
That it was like, hey, this is Eileen, and she's the film commissioner, and hey, Eileen, tell us a little bit about the film industry. So I did a little bit of an impromptu presentation here. I do have a whole slide deck that I could be bringing another time. I also met you guys at Durham College probably 3 or 4 weeks ago when you were there. I guess invited to come along there and join up with the MAD program and do some work with the green screen, with photography, with product promotion, things like that. That was really cool. Another thing I do is I do go to Durham College, have regularly with my friend who's a retired first AD, first assistant director, is that person that's hired before you ever go to principal photography. She is that key person that is hired by a production company to literally break down the script, schedule, and man the floor during principal photography. Every single thing that happens, she's like the producer's representative on set. So Libby and I, with our joint experience and careers and everything, we do presentations on a yearly basis at Durham College to their students. And another thing I've been doing lately as well, last week in fact, I was down in the University of Waterloo teaching a film sector development, how to start up a film office, to a classroom of about 50 people that are aspiring to be economic development officers from all over Canada. And they are there doing their year 2, they call it. They're there for an entire week, doing courses like from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock every day. So I am now, last year and this year, I was asked if I would come and do a class specifically on that, so they can learn within their own communities, right? How to start a film office and how to get engaged with the film industry. So that's kind of like high school level, college level, professional level, you know? So I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah, you're everywhere, you're doing everything. Tristan, you want to ask him questions about Eileen herself, because I know you do a bunch of stuff within the industry, not just Driff.
Yeah, how did you always want to do film? You always want to be part of the film industry?
Well, I always love stories. And hey, what is the film industry but nothing but stories, right? Long stories, short stories that are movie of the week, stories that are feature films, stories that are documentaries, which if people have never watched those, because they don't get a lot of exposure. But documentaries are those films that move you and make you think, and they usually have a purpose and a goal and try to drive you to actually do some action. So I've always enjoyed stories. I started working as an economic development officer 17 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And then 4 years into that, I was handed this film portfolio. It's kind of like if a location manager comes and says, hey, I'm looking for a cabin in the woods, or I need some castle-like looking structure to do some exteriors or whatever. Just show them what we have in Durham. But that was it. There was no reporting, there was no formal office, there was no engaging with the film industry or the unions and guilds like the Directors Guild of Canada, NABET, ACTRA. There was no engagement, there was no relationships built with any of the film industry from Toronto. So I took it upon myself to start working with that portfolio and apply some good old-fashioned ECDEV principles and start working with, I actually had a really good mentor with the Toronto Film Office. Eric Jensen is his name. He was the manager of the film office. He had 6 film permitting officers. So Toronto is in all of North America. They're the 3rd in North America for the amount of projects that they do. LA first, New York second, Toronto 3rd, Vancouver 4th, right? So he was a great teacher, went downtown Toronto, learned a lot. Like I said, started creating those relationships with the unions, the guilds, started working on building the industry out here in Durham, and started going to places like eventually LA, down to Santa Monica for the American film market, and then lately, and also became a certified film commissioner through the Association of Film Commissioners International. That's what the CFC is in my name, like after my name. So because of that affiliation with the Association of Film Commissioners International, every year I go down to LA, we meet up with studio executives from MGM, Amazon, Netflix, all of those folks, and try to coax them to, hey, look what we have up here in Durham, right? to offer for locations and studios in the background. So that's a good part of what my job is. And as a film commissioner, I work with a film liaison in each of our 8 municipalities to make sure that when film does come here, film investment, whether it's a TV series, a commercial, movie of the week, feature film, whatever it is, and we typically get more TV series than anything else, we can make sure that when they come, they can get all their permits, they can do whatever they need to do their work on time, on budget, right? And work out any of those funny little quirky things that might pop up. Do a lot of troubleshooting too. Is that good?
I mean, yeah. You said
Sorry,
yourself that you're not like impressive or anything, but because like you are literally the reason we have so much film going on in Durham. Like you said it yourself, like you were building those connections, and now like, I mean, I remember growing up in Orono, and you see like there's so many films every summer. Polar, exactly. I remember being there when they were filming that, like American flags everywhere. Like that's all because of you, essentially. Just to get more back into the Driff, what are some of like the favorite films that you've seen?
The favorite ones, The Boy in the Woods was one, that was a couple years ago, about during the war, World War II, about a young boy who was orphaned, separated from his family originally, and then eventually he didn't realize that they had been killed. And he literally was, this is based on a true story, and he was literally out in the woods, just this, 10-year-old boy, trying to survive in the woods in, let's say, northern Poland or something, where it's freezing cold, right? And he survived for months.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So he was called The Boy in the Woods. Great movie, great movie. Last year we had Atomic Reaction. So I believe you were talking about your mother works for CNL. So this movie was kind of a documentary. It was based on the CNL, based on how all that uranium came down and how that whole cleanup is happening. And there was lots of interviews in that movie with different folks, residents, and how it's impacted them. So that was actually a very impactful movie last year. That was our opening feature film last year. For Driff, we watched one about Sue's. That was another. It was a really cute one about a mother who has a lot of problems with her daughter, teenage daughter, and the teenage daughter has a boyfriend that's a little bit of a whack job, and she's really hopes that her mom likes the boyfriend, and at first the mother doesn't. She thinks he's just like not good for the daughter, and in the end turns out he's a wonderful guy, and he actually helps her relationship with her daughter. So win-win, right? So that was just a really nice movie. And the last one I'm going to mention is called True Cost. It was one of the movies that I purchased the programming fee for the very first year I did this, and that movie, if you can ever watch it, especially young women, it is all about the price of fashion. It's all about how cotton is grown in other countries, third world countries, and it has pesticide on it, on the cotton, to help it grow as much as it can to make money for those people that are going to make the clothing. However, the pesticides are creating health issues for the local community, but it's like nobody cares because they just want the money, right? And how there is literally 2-story high piles of clothing that are shipped and dumped all over the place in the world, because we live in such our fashion industry is so much about you wear something a year, maybe 6 months, and then you discard it, and then you want to buy something else.
Yeah.
And this fashion industry and the impact it has on the world, in that movie True Cost, it's astounding. It's a great movie to watch. So those are some specifically that were shown at Driff that I really enjoyed.
I mean, they sound amazing. We're gonna have to do a lightning round here real quick. So we're just gonna talk about Driff and submitting. What kind of films do you take? Like, what are the categories? I know there's a student film. Like, what's the prizes? Stuff like that.
Okay, so we have all kinds of films, whether it be shorts, features, student films, foreign films. Obviously, we are Durham Region International Film Festival, so obviously we take films from across the world. And also domestic, so films from Ontario, films from Durham Region, films from Canada. We have literally 5 different categories, and there is the winner will receive $700. The winner of any of these categories will win $700. So in other words, we have $3,500 worth of prize money for the winners of the best student film, the best Canadian short film, the best international short film, the best regional film, and then we actually have a People's Choice Award. which is voted on by the people, just like what they do at TIFF. So you actually go online, QR code, type in which one did you like the best. Doesn't matter if it's a short or a feature, which one did you like the best, and whoever wins, wins. Okay? Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, we're gonna have to wrap it up soon, but I just thank you so much for your time.
I agree.
We learned so much, especially about the films you were just mentioning and what you do here. And again, like basically all of film in Durham is because of you and your other contributions of others within Driff. Is there anything else you'd like to say, like ticket sales, when it's happening, like?
Okay. Well, the best thing I can say is to find out about Driff, and even to find out about our workshops, or you mentioned something about on the Driff YouTube channel, has lots of lessons. So as part of my role as the Audience Event and Marketing Chair, I work with a blog writer who does these how to do it, kind of your do it yourself. So that's where you're seeing those YouTube channels or those lessons, right? All that stuff can be found on driff.ca. So DRIFF.ca. Tabs across the top. There'll be a tab about our Driff in a Jiff. There'll be a tab about the Fall Festival. So if you want to know, tickets typically go on sale just after Labor Day, like usually around the first week or so, second week of September. So you can look at it there. We also have some packages. Typically we have some passes if you want to go to all three. But if you want to submit a film, student film, there's the category, right? Film Freeway. But I do believe that Film Freeway, it may be closing by the end of this month or halfway into July. So if you did want to submit a film, you need to do it soon. We usually open up Film Freeway around February, so there's lots and lots of time. But we do need to close it off so that our director of programming and her juries, jurors and all the rest of it can start formulating that program, right? And what else can I say? Resources for students. Like I said, sign up on Driff, so you can sign up for the Driff e-newsletter, which comes out once a month. You can attend the Driff events, which means the full-on Fall Festival. And I usually have some comp tickets for students, which I like to give out because I love to have students there. There was a number of Durham College music students in the business management for music that came to our industry workshop about music, sound, and design last year. So I just got some comp tickets for it. It was great. But there are workshops, there's panels, you can connect with industry professionals, filmmakers while you're there. So I suggest that just go on driff.ca and see what you like.
All right, thank you so much. This was actually amazing. Like, I'm genuinely very appreciative.